What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another Gloss Garage podcast. I'm your host, Sak from Detailing Made Simple, and today my vehicle is finally due for a decontamination wash. And what I will be using is Labo Cosmética Primus and Purifica, and I'll be using this to, again, decontaminate my coating on the vehicle. I've done the wheels and tires off screen, so you hear that voiceover, and the wheels do have Labo Cosmetica's HPC, so stay tuned for that on how everything looks afterwards. And let's get started with the video, and also I'm gonna show you the water beading right away on how the paint is. I am getting not a little bit of dead spots, but definitely rapid sheeting or a bit of clogged areas. And what coating does my vehicle have? It has a C6 diamond, and I will show you on how everything else is performing. Now my vehicle is dirty. You'll see the walk around. I'm pretty sure I probably put it during the intro, but in terms of these uppers, it is doing fantastic. There's nothing wrong with this. And over here, let's go move in closer. Same thing, it's just these lower areas that are starting to see a bit more clogged. As you can see, it's not beading as quick as the paint, but it is still beading extremely well at the moment. It is still doing great. It's just that I noticed it definitely needed a decontamination wash, especially after my wheels and tires have been really clogged. And then once I did the acid wash on it, all the beads came back up. So I just said, you know what? It is time to do a decon wash on the entire car. And let's get started. All right, everyone. So here is the wheels and tires, and I have detail codes Guardian on the tires, and it's lasted me pretty much 3 weeks on here. Now, in terms of the wheels, I've noticed the beads aren't as tight as they used to be, especially because I do have Labo Cosmetica's HPC. It is beading, and especially on the lower areas, it's starting to clog up just a little bit. It's just not as tight and round of beads the way it typically looks. And I've just been using really just say Primus on the wheels or a rinseless wash on the wheels, just to not be too aggressive with it. You don't have to use an aggressive cleaner every single time you do the wheels. Now for the tires, as you see, I'm using ADS tire cleaner diluted 1:4. To me, at the moment, it's still my favorite tire cleaner of all time, especially because it is dilutable. And then for this portion is use acid when you need it. And in this purpose, I am using Ragnarok diluted 1:5. And for this purpose, it's more to really remove the water scaling or water spot minerals, or just the minerals in general that's embedded the cells on the wheels. And if you haven't seen my video on my channel on how Ragnarok on the 1:5 does on removing water spotting, check that video out. But all in all, this is definitely going to help really deep clean the pores of the paint. And if you have a quality ceramic coating, it is not going to do any harm to it. It will, if anything, enhance it. And here you'll see, once I am done cleaning the entire wheels, on the tight beading it got is just extremely tight beads. It is rapid beading, and I am just extremely proud on just the way Ragnarok helped revive and remove those minerals, just because the wheels do get super hot, and when you drive them, they will bake those minerals deeper into the pores of your rims. So that is pretty much it. Done with the rims and with the tires. Hopefully you all enjoy this, and this is why I said, you know what, it is time to definitely do a full decon wash. So here are the rims getting rinsed off, and look at how tight and how much faster the water beading is coming out. And yeah, I wasn't getting that with a rinseless wash. Again, using a pH neutral soap, or even just a alkaline soap like Primus, but I would have it barely diluted. Wasn't really the best method. But in terms of this, after 6 months, definitely worth it, or 5 months, 6 months, and it is definitely worth. And you can see how tight those beads are. All right, everyone. So what is the first thing you need to do a 2 pH wash? Well, for Labos Cosméticas process or system is you want to use their alkaline first. So first I have Primus diluted 1:5 inside the foam cannon, and you are going to spray this on the car, and this will get rid of all that heavy grit, traffic film, and deep clean the pores of the paint to remove all that oil, grease, and grime from your coating. Typically for the first foam, I'm not really trying to go for perfection really. And the only reason for that is because I like to foam, rinse, and then foam again. And that is why I'm not going to go for perfect coverage in this instance. Once that's done, just let that foam dwell. That is the most important part. Now, I put 500 mils, which is like 16 ounces of water, and here I have about 8 ounces. With this, it's just perfectly enough to foam, rinse, foam again, and then do your contact wash. And what I like to do for the meantime is grab whatever brush you have, use a clean brush, and what I'm using here is my wheel and body brush just to clean the grills. And this is the one that I use for my wheels and tires for this instance, is just to clean the grills and this lower plastic right here. And then just put it right back inside your wheel bucket. Now, in terms of this brush, this is the Mafra brush from Labo Cosmetica. And here, I'm doing the decon wash. So I want to deep clean the seams on all, say like the cracks and crevices here, and just brush these through. You know, you want to deep clean everything, make sure everything's nice and clean. And that is what I'm doing here. Just want to really deep clean inside those cracks and crevices, because sometimes when you do a rinseless wash, you're not going to cover those areas. You're really not. And you miss a lot of opportunities of ensuring that you get a deep clean. And if you're going to do this 2 pH wash, just do it as such. Just clean all around. Get inside these rubber seals. This Primus and Purifica is VDA certified, which is freaking awesome. So it's not gonna damage or hurt your plastic or rubber seals, and also it is safe to use in direct sunlight. And as you can see, it is sitting there dwelling. I cleaned that right there. Come over here, clean this. Clean areas that you know have a lot of these little cracks and crevices that are definitely annoying to clean. And that is pretty much it on my vehicle. And I'm gonna set this down, and it's time to rinse off the foam and foam on again. So alrighty everyone, so you saw me just rinse off the foam, and it removed 90% of that dirt, grit, and grime off of the paint. As you can see, it is completely clean. There's no going down to the lowers, same thing. So what you want to do is do your traditional methods, you know, the way Labo says, you know, foam on Primus, rinse it off, foam it on again, do your contact wash, then use Purifica, do your contact wash, and then go on from there. But in this instance, just do what the car is telling you, right? The car isn't extremely dirty. It's not that I have a bunch of dirt, grit, and grime on the paint that's sitting there. So I'm just gonna go straight to my Purifica step, and I will still be hitting it practically with a double whammy, and that is with Labo Cosmetica Sidero, which is their iron remover, and it acts as a lime scale remover as well. And that's it. So I'm going to do my contact wash with Purifica and say hello. First time I'm showcasing this. This is 2 gallons worth of Purifica that I have in my IK sprayer. And this is the IK sprayer from New York. And typically I know most of the time I always say this, you know, use an IK foamer when using either Primus or Purifica, because you save a lot more product compared to the 1:5 dilution ratio. Inside my foam cannon, you just dilute this 1:20, and it is a true 1:20 dilution ratio. There's no, water that's coming in from your garden hose or your pressure washer and stuff like that. So I'm gonna foam this on as perfectly as possible because this is the contact wash, and I will be letting Purifica dwell for about 2 to 3 minutes. All right, so I've foamed Purifica on, and I've pretty much let this side dwell about 2 to 3 minutes already. So this is just fine. Obviously, the longer you let the product dwell, the better it's going to do its job. Yes, Labo Cosmetica is sun friendly, or just pretty much their products. I love their alkaline soap and their obviously acidic soap, because I could just let this dwell in the sun. Obviously you don't want to, completely let it dry, but it is so easy and so sun friendly to use. Now that I'm in the garage, I'm letting it dwell longer than I need to, and this is definitely going to help penetrate those water spot minerals a lot deeper, and it is time for the contact. So what I'm doing here is I do have Purifica inside my wash bucket, and this is pretty much going to hit it with a double whammy in terms of letting the Purifica do its job and really keep eating those minerals away. And since 99% of the dirt, grit, and grime is removed, I just dunked back into my wash bucket, and that was because of the Primus. I am not worried about swirls and scratches on my paint. So I am going to breeze through this and see you on the iron removers part. All right, so it is time for some iron remover, and I am using Labo Sidero, and it is time to spray some. And yes, I am using iron remover because I do live about max a mile away from a train track road or a railroad, maybe half a mile away. And the problem with that is they do deliveries. A cargo shipment always comes by almost, I think, Monday through Friday pretty much. And that's why I am doing this decontamination wash, because I am starting to feel a little bit of fallout on my actual paint. So I'm gonna spray. This is diluted 1:4 from Labo. So I am spraying heavily. And Labo isn't I'm gonna show you purpling right away in this instant. You really have to let it dwell. But it is breaking down those contaminants for sure. This isn't the best smelling iron remover, but the fact that you get both lime scale and water remover right away is the best option. So just spray around and let it dwell. And time to start just claying a little bit. So I'm gonna spray a little bit here. As I said, in terms of the fallout, it's gonna be removed. I don't have a lot. I'm pretty much doing 0 pressure on here. But right away, I could feel it just get ultra smooth right after. So that is what I am going after. I just want to make sure I deep clean the paint. And this is especially before winter. You want the cleanest, barest paint as possible. Now, am I going to top the C6 diamond? I don't know. This is a question for myself, because as a customer, right, I want to do a real world, you know, no topping, you know, not applying any toppers or anything on the coating. But for me personally, it goes back to question, well, if I'm a customer, am I going to, you know, am I going to top it before winter? Do people recommend topping your coating before winter? And the answer is yes. I do recommend it, especially if you have salt on the roads, all that type of stuff, because once winter comes, people don't wash their vehicles often. Let's be real, right? Let's be real. You only wash your vehicle probably once a month during the winter time, and when you have salt and all those caustic chemicals on the roads, guess what? It's going to diminish your coating greatly. So I do believe in toppers. So I may top this probably with, I don't know. I'll decide later, probably at the end of the video. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. Maybe I'll top it on the next wash before it really does get super cold outside. Well, good thing is I can wash my car in the garage, but oh, look at this. Look at that. So there is the purple in action happening. So this is typically the area where you're gonna get the most iron fallout. And that is because, and look, it's dropping right there on the floor. So the back is typically where you're gonna get the most iron fallout. And that is because, I don't know, I think it's just the whole, you know, the way the air flows, you know, the little vortex. So when you're driving on a highway or whatever, it acts as a vacuum back here. So, and this is where I had the most contamination. So, and I feel it a little bit, but it goes away right away. And that is it. I'm not gonna bore you all with all of this. I'm just going to just finish doing the entire clay process on the rest of the car, and see you all on the outro. With the clay towel and the Sodero, this is how the water beads look. Look how much quicker it's flying off the paint compared to the intro, the first part of the video. Everything's just flying off. This is pretty much day one coating. I removed those embedded fallout that was on there, embedded contaminants, and now it is just beading ridiculously well. And now my car is prepped for the winter. Now, did I top my coating? You'll see here in the next clip. No, I didn't. I'm just gonna spoil it for you all, but no, I didn't. And you'll see what I put on it instead, which I typically use. And yeah. So exactly what I said on the clip before, I am not using a topper, I'm using Tim's high gloss detailer. And typically here what you want to do is blow off most of the water. It doesn't matter what brand towel you're using, it's just always good to blow off as much water as possible, especially from the cracks and crevices, so that way you're not dealing with drips afterwards. So I just like to blow off as much water as I can, especially because I have a coated car. The beads just all go over on one side, and then use whatever last standing protection. In this case, I'm just using a quick detailer. So what this would benefit myself is I will get much slicker because the quick detailer is less diluted. And then also, of course, if you're using a ceramic detailer on your end, if you're using that as a drying aid, the ceramic protection will last longer, you know, on the paint, because it is contacting a drier surface. So that's pretty much it. And what I like to do is use the GOAT 1800 towel as, say, my official squeegee or soak up towel, and then the second towel as my final buff off. And I just spray like crazy using Tim's high gloss detailer, and that's it. My paint just feels super slick, and that is it. I am done with the drying process. So see you all on the outro. All right, everyone. So hopefully you all enjoyed this video. And here's a quick walk around as I do a quick recap of everything that was done. And of course, for the tires, we ended up putting Detail Co. Guardian on the tires. And yes, this is what a true decontamination wash can do for any ceramic coating, especially a quality ceramic coated vehicle. And I do have C6 Diamond on here, and now it is beading extremely well, exactly like day one. The bottom areas that were clogged are pretty much done. As you saw for the wheels themselves, you saw with Labos, Cosmeticas, HPC, it was starting to get clogged a little bit, and we ended up using Ragnarok, which is a wheel acid, to help break down those water spot minerals and deep clean the pores of the rim, and all the water beading came back exceptionally well. For the paint, we ended up doing the 2 pH system from Labo Cosmetica, and as you saw right away after we used Purifica, everything started coming up a lot better, and I removed a lot of those embedded contaminants, especially on the back area on the trunk. As I said, I do live about half a mile away from a railroad track, and pretty much we just removed all that stuff in itself, those embedded contaminants. The earlier you catch this type of stuff and do a decontamination wash on your coated vehicle, it'll last 10 times longer. Now, in terms of applying an actual topper, I'll probably do that on the next wash. But in terms of that, you see how the water beads are doing. So I'll keep you all posted, obviously, on the next wash. If I do a rinseless wash or something, I'll make a video on it. If I use a topper, I use a topper. If not, I don't. So this is a real world test so far. It is doing extremely well. And let me know what all of you think. This is pretty much my winter prep wash, ready for winter, and I think it is doing extremely well. So as I said, I'm most likely going to actually add a topper, just because I'm so accustomed to doing that in New York. It will be pretty much unfair to not do that, especially when I do recommend a topper, especially for the winter months, to any of my customers, just to ensure the longevity of the coating. And yeah, so hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. All the products will be down below in the description for all of you to order, and the results speak for themselves. So I will see you all on the next one. Peace.